G'day guys and welcome to Aussie English. My objective here is to teach you guys the English spoken down under. So whether you want to speak like a fair income Aussie or you just want to understand what the flippin' hell we're on about when we're having a yarn, you've come to the right place. So sit back, grab a cuppa and enjoy Aussie English. Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Sitting with Pete, maybe we'll call it, as I'm just chilling out here at the restaurant. I had a meeting and got to hang out with a lot of the other guys here at the restaurant. We had to do some training, so it was sort of a training day where we had to sort of just go over the basics of having, I don't even know how to explain it, but solving problems potentially with customers. So any sorts of grievances, or if someone gets the wrong meal or they don't like something, just going over the basics of what we have to do when dealing with customers and making sure that they're all happy. So did that for about an hour and a half with all the other waiters here and the managers as well. And I am now just hanging out for about half an hour until I start work later on tonight at about 6 o'clock. And so you can tell I'm speaking a little quieter because it's actually quite quiet here. There's no music playing and there's people working downstairs. And yeah, I thought perfect time to make another video for you guys, touch base. And to touch base means to get in touch with, to sort of keep up to date, to tell you about things, to see how you're going. If I want to touch base with my parents, for example, in general, it could just mean that I'm calling my parents up and saying, how have you been? I just wanted to touch base with you. I wanted to see how you were. You can also use the phrase to touch base for wanting to see how something is, say, progressing. So say you are building a restaurant and you've got plumbers and electricians and builders, carpenters coming over and doing bits and pieces. You could touch base with all of them, call them up. What are you doing today? How's this going? Is this progressing? Where are you at with this part of the project? So it's that idea of just communicating with someone to see where they are at, how they're doing, seeing the progress of a project like that. You could be touching base. Anyway, that's one expression that I can just cheekily explain there for you. So I thought I would do this episode because I'm thinking of learning a new language next year, just to change things up. So to keep my language learning experience and progress sort of going, I felt like after I learnt French last year for an entire year and really, really enjoyed that, and I spent this year learning Portuguese, I thought it would be cool to kind of keep learning a new language each year and see how I can progress, see what sort of level I can get to. I'm probably not going to get anywhere near, really high level in fluency, but at the same time, I'm going to obviously learn the basics, be able to communicate, and just immerse myself in the culture a little bit more than if I was to otherwise just stick with English while I'm in Australia. So, thoughts for next year. Obviously, I speak French, and I speak Portuguese, and I speak English. I'm thinking of learning Icelandic though, and Icelandic is a Scandinavian language. It's the language that's spoken in Iceland, funnily enough. And there's several reasons why I want to learn Icelandic, and I thought I would go over those with you and see what you thought. One, I love the country, geographically. The geology of the country is amazing, the volcanoes, the different parts of the scenery, mountains, beaches, everything up there in the northern hemisphere, right up near the North Pole. It just looks like an amazing place, an amazing country. Aside from that, I love what I know of the people and of the culture and of the history as well, and the Vikings, the sagas. That has always really, really interested me. And so I've always been really fascinated with being able to read the sagas potentially in the language in which they were written, which wasn't Icelandic, but it was Old Norse. And the other aspect, or the other part that I guess that I want to get to, is the fact that Icelandic is a Scandinavian language, like Swedish, Danish, or Norwegian. However, it is very different from those three in that it is grammatically more complex and shares a lot of the grammar that Old Norse has or had once upon a time. So Old Norse is the language from which Swedish, Danish, Norwegian, Icelandic, and a few other languages stem and or originate from. But a lot of the other languages, or at least Swedish, Danish, Norwegian, have all been simplified. So their grammar has become more simplified. It's not as difficult for foreigners to learn, whereas Icelandic still has incredibly different grammar with cases, with genders, I think with genders, or at least with cases. And so it's just more of a challenge. It's more of an interesting challenge, seeing as I speak English, obviously, and I've learnt 2 Romance languages, French and Portuguese. It'll be interesting to learn a Germanic language, other than, obviously, one that I already speak, so learning a Germanic language with incredibly different grammar. So that is part of the reason why I want to learn Icelandic. Other than that, I would like to learn Spanish. That would definitely be on the high priority list. The only thing is that I want my Portuguese to be at a very, very, very high level before I go anywhere near Spanish. I don't want to go anywhere near Spanish until my Portuguese is at a very advanced level, because I feel like I would confuse the 2 languages very easily because they're so close to one another. If I was to suddenly start learning Spanish from a beginner's level when my Portuguese was only at an intermediate level, I feel like I would have the potential to really confuse myself with words, with grammar, with different nouns. They may only slightly be different between the 2 languages, or they may be false friends where the same word is used, but that means completely different things. So I feel like I have to, at least for a few years, focus on leveling up Portuguese to a very high level until I feel like, okay, maybe now I can go near Spanish without worrying about confusing the 2 and crossing them over. So to cross over is obviously to cross something like this and to get them confused in that figurative sense, to cross the 2 things over to confuse them. So yeah, I definitely want to see, what do you guys think? Do you think it's a good idea? Other than, I guess, the idea of starting to learn Icelandic on the 1st of January, because I like starting languages at the moment on the very 1st of January and learning them all the way through until New Year's as at least my primary focus for that one language. I'd still keep doing Portuguese, and I would still keep doing French on the side, and probably just more passively once it's gotten to that point where I can read pretty well and listen pretty well. That is what I would probably focus on more until I have the chance to be able to go to countries like Brazil or like France, where I could potentially more fully immerse myself and then work on my speaking. So the option is, starting Icelandic on the 1st of January and showing you guys what I can achieve, I guess, in a year. So doing these 1-minute daily episodes that I've been doing on Aussie English, and I'll put a link below to the Instagram so that you guys can go and check out the ones that I've done in French and in Portuguese for the last week and a half. I think I've done about 9 episodes. I'm going to try and keep doing that every single day, and so I would try and do that with Icelandic. And I guess this would be an interesting one because I've never met anyone from Iceland, so this would be a language that I would be learning completely on my own with no help from natives at all. So it would be interesting to see what I can achieve doing that. The other option would be to just continue with French and Portuguese and focus on those 2 together and level them up at the same time for another year. And so, those are my thoughts at the moment. I thought I would run this by you guys, and to run something by someone is to sort of get your opinion, to tell you about it, to gauge what you think. If I run my idea by you guys, it means that I tell you the idea and then I wait to hear what you think to run it by you. So I wanted to run the idea of starting Icelandic next year by you guys to see, what do you think? Is it a good idea? Is it a challenge? Maybe you think with that kind of language, what's the point? It's such a minuscule language with a very small population. Maybe I should focus more on learning another language that's a lot more common. And maybe even you'll think, you should just do Spanish. You'll do it, it's fine. You won't confuse it with Portuguese. I want to hear what you guys think. So make sure you jump on Facebook, send me a message or a comment, subscribe to this channel, and also like it, and drop a comment below. Tell me what you think in a comment. Should I do Icelandic? What do you think I'll be able to achieve in a year's time? And yeah, is there a language that you're learning at the moment aside from English? And would you like to join me in the 1 minute per day challenge that I'm doing on Instagram, where I record and upload excuse me, I record and upload a video once a day of 1 minute talking. Anyway, comment below and let me know what you guys think. See you later. You've been listening to the Aussie English podcast. If you like what you hear, please come and join our Facebook community and like and share this episode in order to help the podcast grow. If you'd like to support the Aussie English podcast, please consider donating a few dollars on my Patreon page, which will be linked in the episode transcript. The more you guys donate, the more time and effort I can spend improving the podcast. Until next time, guys, all the best.